Hi, Don. Good to see you this morning.
Hi, Gary. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, I'm Gary Lanham. I'm the team leader of the Gary Lanham Group at Coldwell Banker and Las Olas.
And I'm Donn Rubin, Senior Loan Officer, Reverse Certified Specialist at Fairway Independent Mortgage. And it's a pleasure to be here today with Gary Lanham.
So, what a lot of people don't know, Don, is how many years we've worked together.
Oh,
and,
boy.
And counting right now, I think it's 18 years.
It is. It's going to be our 19th year, 2024.
So, I can't tell you how much you've helped my business and helped me succeed in my business. And today, I'm lucky enough to be with you to talk about some issues that are going on immediately in the 2024 market.
Absolutely.
In fact, we're going to talk about how the market is, how rentals are in today's market, how bad the market was in 2023, as well as what we predict to happen in the market in 2024, who's buying and how they're buying. And then we're going to also talk about the concept of what the new requirements are for a mortgage broker as well as a realtor. And then finally, we're going to talk about what helps sell a house the most. I hope you enjoy this series. They're designed to be educational in nature, help you make good decisions in life and in real estate business.
So, Gary's going to ask some important questions, and I'll do my very best to add some information.
Thank you, Don. So, Don, I'd like to talk to you about how today's market is, because as I look at what's going on in my business, it's January 2024, and as I compare January 2024 to my entire year in 2023, I have more prospects for listings, I have more buyers, and I expect the rates to go down. How do you see the market in 2024?
Well, Gary, I concur with that. We're seeing a big increase over 2023. We're seeing more buyers getting pre-qualified out there, more sellers listing their homes with interest rates coming down, with insurance kind of settling. We're seeing the market pick up, and of course, the mortgage rates coming down is a big factor.
So as the mortgage rates continue to come down, I think that's right. Everything I read anyway suggests that the mortgage rates will at least come down to the low sixes. Some people have talked about even into the fives, whether that's 2024 or 2025, I don't know. But as we see the rates come down, typically what that does is bring more buyers to the market. And when more buyers to the market come, that means oftentimes different concessions are made by the sellers.
Exactly. When we were at our peak in 21, 22, there were so many competing bids. There were 50 people making offers. People were bidding over 50,000, 100,000, giving up appraisal, inspection. It was crazy. Right now, rates are going down in the right direction, and people still are protecting themselves and not having as much competition. This is absolutely a great time to buy right now.
We're lucky as realtors and as mortgage brokers to have access to clients that we've had for how many years you've been doing this?
Oh, 46 years? 46 years?
And 19 for me. I'm so glad to partner with you. I appreciate it, Don.
Thank you, Gary. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
You bet. Don, as we talk about the real estate market in terms of sales, I think it's also important to think about what's going on in the rental market. What do you predict is going to happen in South Florida in 2024?
Well, I personally see rental prices going down with as many rentals as they're building. But again, keep in mind, rent is 100% interest rate, and you don't control your lease. And I've always found that investing in real estate builds great wealth over the years. But I do see rental prices going down in the next year or two.
So I was surprised to read an article, actually a couple of articles that supported rental decreases. In fact, starting in November of 2023, rent prices are actually going down.
I agree, but yet I see some rentals that just shock me. Studios for $3,000 a month. I don't know where people are getting this money, and they're just shocking prices. I know it was a tough market to buy in with raising interest rates in 2023, but that's not the case right now. We're down to the mid sixes and very little competition.
Does it matter if we look at the rentals in terms of type of rental that you have? For example, renting a single-family house, a multifamily home, such as a duplex, a triplex, or a condo?
Well, condos are a whole nother issue. Condos are difficult to rent or buy in, but I always prefer a single-family home, a townhome, a duplex. So it does matter.
So I do wonder, though, with some of the interesting things that are happening in the condo market, and if I was maybe a cash buyer and I wanted to have some kind of significant return on my cash, if I might take advantage of somebody else's issues, buy the condo, and know that I could rent it out.
Absolutely, and that's why it's more important than ever which realtor you work with, which loan officer you work with, because there are several documents that must be looked at that never were looked at before with purchasing condos. So it's very important what kind of representation you have in today's market.
So I've had a couple of experiences like that recently where people want to rent a condo that they're purchasing, and I can't tell you how much better, or I'm not going to say proficient, maybe somewhat proficient, in looking at such things as the last 12 months of condo docs or condo minutes, the finance committee, and then dissecting what's in the minutes with one of the officers of the board, not just taking it for granted, a number and how it's going to be achieved.
And how many listing agents on condos are unaware of that and are clueless about what kind of documentation they need to provide a potential buyer?
Well, I think rentals are going to be a good opportunity for certainly for investors coming into the market, getting ready to rent properties. I think they're going to be a good opportunity for mortgage brokers in the long haul because, as you said, it's 100% interest when you rent, and it's going to again be another good opportunity for realtors. Donn, I really appreciate your help with this.
Always, Gary. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Donn, there's a lot of things to look at in a real estate market, not only in terms of prices of the housing, but also in the rates. So I don't want to say that 2023 was a really bad market, although it was, but I think we need to look at 2023 as a pathway or a gateway, if you will, to a better market in 2024.
Exactly. One thing 2023 taught us was it brought back the buy down, which was so prevalent in the 80s when rates were 12, 13, 14%. With the right realtor who understands a 2-1 buy down, a 3-1 buy down, or even a 1-year buy down, it's a great tool for getting buyers to purchase homes at reduced interest rates until they naturally go down like they are now. So it's a great tool to embrace the buy down.
So let's talk about the buy down a little bit further because a lot of people don't understand it. So if the current interest rate is 6.6, for example, and the seller were to offer a buy down, let's say it could be a 3-2-1 buy down or just maybe a 2-1 buy down. They're buying down 2 points of the rate.
Right. So the first year, instead of 6.6, it might be 4.6, giving the buyer $600, $700, $800 a month savings. The second year, it would be 5.6, making the savings $200, $300, $400, and then it would revert back to 6.6, at which time most buyers feel they can refi. Rates will be in the low fives.
I think it's so important to talk about the cycling of rates because just like the cycling of real estate prices, the cycling of rates also happens. Now, I want to point one other thing out, and that was taught by you to me, is that when you buy a rate down, that can be a direct benefit to you when you prepare your taxes.
Absolutely. It's like points. They can be written off, and it's a great tool. I mean, it's so important for a listing agent to know about this, especially in the market of 2023. It was crucial.
So sometimes as a listing agent myself, going to talk to my sellers, they may be more prone to do a price reduction as opposed to a rate buy down. But I never could agree with that. I think that the buy down is a better deal for them because they get a better tax advantage and they get more money as their net proceeds.
Well, exactly. If you're a buyer in the market and you're looking at the monthly payment, a price reduction might save you $60, $70, $80 a month, where a buy down could save you $800 a month. So you do the math.
So I think with the changes, that's a great point. With the changes in the market, and the main change being that the rates are coming down and we have more inventory. Because we have more inventory, this is going to be a more competitive situation. So those sellers who are willing to do the buy down are going to go to the top of the list for the agents that understand what a buy down does for their buyers.
Exactly. And we have more products, more information, more workarounds. So it's important to work with someone that is an expert and has that information for you.
It's kind of like that old saying that you used to tell me, date the rate, buy the home, fall in love with the home,
Right.
live in it, and when the rates come down, refinance.
Exactly. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you, Don. Don, this has really been a very enlightening educational moment for me talking to you about mortgages in the market in 2024. What do you predict, or what are you experiencing now with regards to 2024 as far as who needs a mortgage and why?
Okay, what I really see is a big surge in our reverse mortgage market, what we call HECM, home equity conversion mortgage. And that's because as more and more people retire, 10,000 people a day are turning 65. They're in the wrong house, or they want to age in place and they need renovations, and they own their home free and clear, or they have sufficient equity. They need to pull some of that equity out to cover rising property taxes and rising insurance costs, or they're in the wrong kind of house. They need to right size, whether it's upsize or downsize. They want to be near the kids and the grandkids, but that new house is out of their price range. Well, with a reverse mortgage, they have increased purchasing power. They can buy that house and in retirement not have a required mortgage payment, which is all about cash flow, lowering their taxes, and increase net wealth. So a realtor that understands this market would be well advised to serve our senior community. I'm a certified reverse mortgage loan officer, and I see that as being the big boom in 2024. Thank you for asking that, Gary.
So I'm going to tell you, my hair on my neck bristled when you said reverse mortgages, because I am of the generation where reverse mortgages were the mortgage of last resort. However, we had a president who was very wealthy and saw some tax advantages to people obtaining a HECM reverse mortgage. Could you talk briefly about that and how that might benefit, for example, not just a person who's destitute, but a person who's super wealthy and wants to take tax advantages?
Well, reverse mortgage has literally gone from the loan of last resort to the loan of first resort. When I have a high net wealth client, say worth $5 million, and I suggest rather than they're paying $1 million cash for the home, use a reverse mortgage, they say, I don't need that. Where that may be true, I agree with them. They don't need it, but they didn't get $5 million from leaving money on the table. And in a few short years, 3 to 5 years, they may have given up a $250,000 deduction. Cash is king. I can show you where a reverse mortgage will help in 95% of all scenarios.
So I want to take that another step. So you helped me with the customer with regards to a HECM and a reverse mortgage to purchase. And the concern the customer had was, if I get a reverse mortgage, I don't have the right or the ability to leave this property to my kids.
No, that's another myth. You always own the property with just an average home appreciation of 4% per year, and the money you've pulled out in a growing tax-free line of credit and the savings of not making that mortgage payment, you actually could leave your kids a higher net wealth than if you just let them the house, which they don't want. So good question.
Thank you. So I think it's important for us as realtors to continue to learn more about reverse mortgages, because they are not the loan of last resort. These are becoming the loan of high net worth individuals. And Don, I really appreciate informing us on this.
Thank you, Gary. I like helping our seniors. It's a good thing to do, and it's the right thing to do. So thank you.
You bet. Thank you. So Don, we've talked about the HECM for purchase and reverse mortgages, but one of the things I'm seeing in the market right now, which is a little bit surprising, are divorces. And not just any divorce, but divorces that are coming from seniors age 60 plus.
Yep, they're called silver divorce, and they've set records. There's more silver divorce right now than most any other kind of divorce. And it's the perfect scenario, unfortunately, for the reverse mortgage, because it allows for an equitable distribution between the two parties. That's whether one party wants to stay in the home and does a reverse and gives that cash out to the other party leaving so they equitably have the same value home, or whether the original home is sold and they both have equity to purchase a new home. It's perfect. It's important for realtors to know to have a connection with divorce attorneys. It takes a very special collaboration during a divorce. Very special needs need to be met, and the reverse should be thought of as a great solution.
So I think the most interesting thing to me is that a silver divorce, where people are a little bit older and they've been married and they may have kids that are grown now, the amicability that goes on in that divorce situation. I mean, it's surprising. Well, they grew old together, they like each other, they had kids together, but they want to do their own thing, and they have X amount of years to do that.
Right.
So from the perspective of a realtor, that tells me there's not only one deal, not only two deals like there would be a HECM for purchase, but you have the possibility of doing 3 deals.
Exactly. In what is probably the worst time of their lives, you're there as a support and the benchmark of the information needed to get through this. So it's satisfying. I find it very satisfying.
We're not attorneys, and we don't pretend to be, but I think it's something also to learn more about as we progress and proceed with our careers.
Exactly. Thank you, Gary, bringing up a very important and timely subject.
Thank you. Donn, as we go through one of our last videos today, I tentatively said I wanted to say what helps sell a house the most, but as I thought about that, sometimes these videos can be too salesy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be salesy, but I want to be fact-based. And one of the facts that I learned and continue to learn is about properties that are for sale by owner.
Yes.
So for sale by owner houses, typically only 7% of those sellers are actually able to sell the house.
Really?
And the second part of that is that 57% of that 7% are sold to friends of the seller.
I believe that because I know when what they call these FSBOs, for sale by owners, cross my desk, I take a big sigh because I know there are so many things that can go wrong. And the main thing that I see go wrong is the reason it's a FSBO is the seller didn't like the quotes he got on the value of his home and overpriced the home, found a buyer somehow, and the home doesn't appraise. And the whole deal blows up.
Or the other alternative is that it was 2021.
Yeah.
And have a for sale by owner because I don't want to pay commissions. I know the buyers will pay above appraised price and they'll still waive contingencies.
But so many things can go wrong when you think how much a realtor does with each transaction and then how much we do. A for sale by owner with a cash offer can be a nightmare.
So when you see for sale by owners and it's a finance deal, what happens across your desk?
I worry about the value they put. I worry about their disclosures. Did they truly disclose everything? The condition of the house? It's not like I'm always able to go tour the house. So there's always a surprise with FSBO. With a good realtor involved in the transaction, these things can't happen.
Right.
Or usually don't happen.
Right. And of course, that brings us to 2024, where the market's changed. Interest rates are down. We still have the possibility of rate buy downs.
Thank God. Yep.
And now I'm going to refocus us on what the house should look like. And I don't want to make this long and contracted here, but I want to start with at least the drive-up appeal, the curb appeal, or as we like to say these days, the digital curb appeal, because it's different today.
Yes.
No longer do you drive by a house and say, I want to live in that house in this neighborhood. I might be in Paris looking at your house and say, I want to buy that house.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's very important. Of course, all the tricks, the staging, the curb appeal, all these things make a difference.
So it used to be when curb appeal, the realtor may say, paint your door red.
Right.
Or paint it
That's
some
right.
Florida tropical color. But now we're seeing entire front yards being landscaped. One of the landscape designers I like to mention is Luis Yensa Garden Designs. Not only has he published in Architectural Digest and various publications, Better Homes and Gardens, and additional national publications, he brings the wherewithal, the knowledge, and if you like somebody who's Spanish who knows Latin, you'll enjoy working with him. But he also brings value to the house.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Luis. I used Luis, and I think Luis was a big factor in my house selling in 2 days, the curb appeal.
And when I look at the Coldwell Banker agents on Las Olas, I know some of the big hitters are using Luis Yensa to help price their houses at a higher rate.
That's great. Great information. Good information for everyone out there. Call Gary, get Luis's information, and just have a great day.
Thank you, Don. It's really a pleasure being with you.
Okay. Bye-bye.